Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Now that I have some sort of semblance of where we are in the ball lineup, I know that this is ball 10, and man, this dude's worth all 10 balls.
12 days of balls.
On the 12 days of balls. Meth's favorite thing to say. The last 12 days. Now, admittedly, Pinball Party is not always the podcast for up-to-date news and reviews, and we're not like this media conglomerate out there making sure that everyone knows up-to-date every little thing, which, of course, we talk about, and why not? Because it's what we're doing here, talking about pinball. But there is a place to go when you want all the latest news, up-to-date, good stuff, up to the second. It's where I go. And frankly, if there's someone on the side I'm double-checking a rumor with, offline, if you will, or via message, like, did you hear this? Yeah, I heard that. Did you hear this? And it's a good time. It's been a long time coming. We've been chatting on the side a lot, but let's get to Jason from Knapp Arcade.
On the 10th day of balls, pinball gave to me Jason Knapp Arcade, Erica's Pinball Journey, on Craig, Bobby, Buffalo, Pinball Cabin, Shipping, David, Dennis, Hill, and Rachel Best. Dodge Pinball Podcast, Yoga, Triple Drain, one half of Math, Matthew Shield, Zach Manning.
Merry Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas, Jason Knapp from Knapp Arcade. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Peek behind the scenes before we started recording. I was just saying, I'm reading your most recent news article on knapparcade.org. Announcement of new pinball manufacturer for Bally Williams remakes to come before end of 2023 with an update that basically is saying Planetary Pinball may still be working with CGC on this. I know you can't say more, but that's something.
Yeah, Planetary chimed in. And, when I mentioned that there was a new manufacturer coming, and they kind of reiterated that they were still working with CGC, I guess. That was the update to it.
I guess the most recent rumors that I've heard around that kind of remix stuff was Twilight Zone, and I've heard some stuff behind the scenes, some stuff I will and won't say. But yeah, it's I hope they keep remaking some of these games.
I love it. I say the more the merrier out there, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I can't buy everything, but I like to go play them on location for sure.
100%. Well, for those, we kind of went right into it. For those who don't know who you are, Jason Knapp runs the website Knapp Arcade. In my opinion, a lot of people's opinion, the best site for pinball news out there. I get email notifications. So I will get your email notification. This is usually what happens. I'll get an email notification of some news thing, and then I read it, and while that's happening, I'll get a text from someone else in the know, who's not referencing your site, telling me the same thing. The timing on this stuff is just odd.
That's
it's a
good.
small
I
hobby.
win, then.
Yeah, you do win. And so you have up to date pinball news, and you do arcade stuff as well. When did that start? Was it always a pinball thing, or is that new to the arcade? Because it's called Knapp Arcade. What's the
Right. Yeah, no, I started the it was actually just a Facebook page for a long time. And I started it was 2015, I think. I forget. It's buried in my logo as an Easter egg. Exactly. Oh. If you look at the logo and you look on the pinball machines, there's a score. That was the exact date of the Facebook page that it started. My Fiverr artist in Transylvania suggested I put it in there. I was like, "Oh,
is that what it was?"
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny. I got that made. I felt so bad. Fiverr was so cheap. I got the ultra deluxe package and tipped him 100%. It was still cheap. I was like, "What the?"
Wow.
Oh, but anyways, so yeah, it started out as a Facebook page, and it wasn't really intended to be a news site or anything like that. What I did was I had bought one of those Arachnid industrial dart machines, the commercial dart machines that you see in a bar, and you can go and it's got a video screen on it, and you can play darts against your friends with the soft tip darts.
Okay.
So I bought one of those, and my kids and I were going to do a charity tournament with all their friends and all the people in town to benefit St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So I wanted to put up something just so we could invite people to it and they could say whether they're coming or not and when it is and everything. So that was the Facebook page was originally like the Knapp Arcade Charity Dart Tournament. And then about, I don't know how much longer after that, 6 months or a year after that, I was sharing a bunch of good Craigslist deals with people on the New Jersey Arcade Collectors Facebook page. And all the people that had been hoarding all the games were getting pissed off at me for sharing all the good deals with everyone else. That was back when Craigslist actually had deals. Now
Sure.
it's like, so they were all giving me a hard time and they're like, oh, what are you doing? So I was like, well, screw you. I'll just go post it on my own page. So I changed the name to Knapp Arcade. And it was good anyways, because I was starting to share a lot of like arcade and pinball news just on my regular site. And like all the people I know in regular life are like, I don't care about this, They give me, like all people like, like in town or from work or whatever. They're like, why do I care that this is happening?
Yeah.
So it gave me a good place to talk about all the stuff I wanted to talk about anyways. And it kind of just grew. It was there. And then I started really getting into taking pictures. So I started sharing the pictures on Instagram in there. I share a lot of pinball machine pictures, and then it kind of expanded to the website because I was taking a lot of like arcade road trips and stuff with my kids and sharing pictures and details of locations there. And they were just kind of disappearing on Facebook after a while. I mean, stuff just gets buried and kind of just disappears into the ether. So I was like, well, I'll put it up on a website. That way I always have it. I always have the memories of going to these places with my family and the pictures and just stuff. So stuff doesn't generally disappear into the Facebook quagmire or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
So it still existed. And that's kind of how it all came about. Kind of by accident, I guess.
I use it especially in my droughts when I'm out of pinball for a while and I don't, or like, you get access to Discord or Pinside or Facebook or all these things. And like when I just want the cobwebs gone or the negativity, like I just wait for my email notifications. I don't read. I'm like, I'll wait for the stuff from Knapp Arcade. And for those who don't go to it, it is actually KNAPP, not NAP. And I don't know. It's for me, it's the only place to go for news. And I'm wondering, how are you getting all this stuff? I know you can't share all these secrets, but are you like, do you have a magnifying glass and a microscope and you're just scouring, or do you got trolls that are feeding you this info? Or I assume it's like a mix of all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't go out like pumping people for information and like trying to develop moles and all this stuff. I mean, it all really, the backbone of the whole thing is that I've always been in competitive intelligence as a career in the auto industry. So manufacturers want to know what one manufacturer wants to know what the other one's doing, and one wants to know what sort of deals the other's offering. So I guess from doing that for a couple of decades, I've gotten the ability to sift through a lot of garbage really fast.
And are you still doing that?
Yeah.
Man, I am. Oh, that's dangerous. When I took a break from pinball, I still kind of am. I don't own any machines right now, so kind of monetarily took a break. I started getting into cars for the first time in my life. I have a couple of friends who are just gearheads. I don't know what the term is for people who are obsessed with cars.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun I wouldn't call it a hobby necessarily, area to be involved in.
It's close. Yeah, I realized that quickly. Like for it to be a hobby, it's even though pinball is expensive, talk about cars.
Yeah, pinball, at least a car is, at least, especially nowadays after COVID.
God.
After COVID, everything shot up like a rocket. I think incentives are going to continue to increase so the prices will normalize somewhat in 24, but still.
Yeah. And when I got, I'm still in the process of like possibly buying a Subaru STI, and I almost bought a launch edition just because of that they, discontinued them in 2021, and because of like the couldn't pass the emissions or whatever it was for the new WRXs. I'm just for my like personal fun, I keep Googling like Subaru STI 2025 or 2020 is going to be a hybrid. So I'm waiting for that. So please, if you ever find anything out, shoot me a note on the side, because I want whatever next version of STI they make, if they make one.
Yeah, I can look into that. I mean, it's so many things. It's funny. I mean, not to go off on an auto tangent on a pinball podcast. But
hey, do it.
But I mean, the future product plans for every manufacturer have been slowly turning into almost all electric vehicles. And when I was looking at the market, I was like, man, they should be paying me for my opinion on this part, because I was like, there's such a massive disconnect between consumer demand for EVs and what the future product plans were. I knew it was not going to end well. And, we're starting to see them starting to pull back on the EV, the future EV plans a little bit now, because they're realizing it's just a huge disconnect between what consumers are willing to purchase at this point, whether it's because of the range anxiety or the cost. I mean, it's both.
Sure.
Because EVs are cost prohibitive compared to conventional gasoline vehicles at this point. So there was a major disconnect between product plans and the market, I thought.
The most recent, I almost bought a Tesla Model 3 Performance because I'm, pinball money, like whatever. I'll do something stupid with it for a while. And now I'm kind of waiting for whatever they do in 2024 with the Highland refresh of the Performance. But I test drove a couple Mach-E's. And it's funny that, I liked it, but same thing. Like if I was currently going to do a electric, it would probably be Tesla just for the infrastructure and the whatever. Even though it's not perfect, it's just, well, so I drive it, realize the price of a Mach-E. I get home a couple weeks later. They're like, hey, they send me a follow-up like, oh, we're doing like incentives now or this and that, 0% financing. At the same time, I see the news that like Mach-E is just not selling well at all. And Ford is saying, go ahead, discount the shit out of it. We cannot move these things. And that's probably to your point,
yeah, that's what's coming. I think especially on electric vehicles, if you look at the incentives on electric vehicles versus ICE, conventional internal combustion vehicles, the incentives on EVs are just skyrocketing.
Okay. Well, a conversation for some other time or offline.
You can edit that part out.
I think I'm going to leave it, man. All right. Yeah. So speaking of pinball, I have some questions I've been asking people on this 12 Days of Balls. Thanks again for joining and doing it in such short notice. You were one of the people I thought of immediately, so I really appreciate it.
That. Yeah, we've been talking about doing something for a while.
Yeah, it's a good excuse to do it. So you have all this pinball knowledge all the time. What was your favorite pinball thing of 2023? Could be a game, could be news, could be relationship, anything.
Yeah, I think it was actually just 2 time periods, really. And that's kind of a strange answer, but I'll explain. Like, back in March, we had like 6 launches within like a month.
Yeah,
if you remember, and I love it when something new comes out that we can talk about. I love it. There's not a lot of pinball machines I hate, anyways, but it's just when there's so much that we can talk about, like happened in March, and then also happened again in the fall. There was 2 like big spikes. And you could see the site traffic really spiked too. I think I hit 50,000 monthly views for the first time in March, and then over 100,000 during this second really uptick in the fall. So, but so I think we've established 50, 60 as like the baseline now, and we're kind of spiking to over 100 if a lot of stuff's going on. So just the fact that there's that many people that want to talk, and I try to keep it to be a very positive place and kind of nip anything bad in the bud if possible. So, it's just exciting for me to be able to talk about new launches and new games with that many people, because there's some comments on the site, and then on the Facebook page, we talk a lot. It's just, that's kind of why I started it, was just to meet and talk with people in the hobby. So whenever there's a lot going on, that makes me happy.
Yeah. Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah. That's a nuanced question. Yes, but I don't necessarily know that they're here. It's almost impossible, I would think, statistically, for there not to be something. But
sure,
given an infinite number of stars and an infinite number of galaxies and everything else, but I have not met one yet, personally.
How about ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts? Have you met any ghosts?
I have not met any ghosts. I would say I am highly skeptical of ghosts. I think aliens are more likely than ghosts.
Sure. Yeah. I would personally be more afraid if I saw a ghost than an alien. An alien, I'd be like, all right, because I could kind of understand that. I could wrap my head around it. Seeing a ghost, I'd be like, well, okay.
You can wrap. You're cool with an alien.
Yeah.
I would think a ghost would be less dangerous than an alien.
Oh yeah. To each their own. If I saw a ghost and I'm a giant child, I would freak the fuck out. I would immediately piss my pants.
It's definitely creepy. I definitely would let that creep me out, but I'm very skeptical of it.
Yeah.
Having said that, I still watch all those shows like Expedition Unknown and
of
Expedition
course.
X and all that
it's
stuff.
so good.
I love that stuff. I have like a Bigfoot on my shirt right now. He's carrying a case of beer, but he is a Bigfoot.
I shit you not. The next question I was going to ask you is, what is your favorite maybe real monster? Sasquatch,
My favorite
Loch Ness
cryptid?
Monster. Yeah, well, you're wearing a shirt.
Sure, I'll go with Bigfoot because this one was from a brewery I stumbled upon. I was driving to my cabin in Wyoming, and we found this like random brewery in this small town. So I went in. I was like, I got to get a shirt and some beer. And this is a Yeti carrying a fly rod in one hand and a 6-pack of craft beer in the other hand.
I bet it would take a lot more than a 6-pack for a Yeti to get a buzz because they're pretty big,
Well,
right?
he is big, but he doesn't drink a lot, I would assume.
You're not wrong.
Like an alcoholic Yeti could finish everything, but like a Yeti having beer for the first time, I think would probably take less than you'd think.
Yeah, good point. What is, and would you mind enunciating your favorite curse word?
Probably shit, just because it's so much more mainstream. If you drop an F-bomb, people are like, oh,
Yeah. Tell me about it. I get emails all the time.
So shit is not quite mainstream, but almost overlooked by people who don't like cursing in general, I would say.
Yeah, it's like the new ass, where ass is just like not even a swear word anymore.
I would say shit is the new crap.
Yep. Shit is shit is the new crap. If I wasn't labeling all of these like 12 days of balls, that would be the episode title. But alas,
shit is the new crap.
Would you mind telling me telling me and the audience something about yourself that you're proud of?
I mean, I'm definitely. I mean, for me, the number one priority is always my family, and my sons are doing well. Knock on wood. So I would say raising, healthy, happy sons would be something I'm most proud of. But like in real life, but to relate it more to this, I think I'm pretty proud that the website and the Facebook page have taken off like they have. I mean, I'm not deriving anything from it monetarily, but I mean, anyone who's somewhat competitive in life wants to succeed at what they're doing, and I think I think it's gone pretty well. So that would be something I'm definitely proud of how it's turned out.
I'm equally impressed. Well, I don't know your sons, or did you say? But your website, yeah, I'm equally proud of your website. How much you bench?
Well, given the fact I've had 3 heart bypasses, not as much as I used to.
Fuck, man. Well, I'm glad you're still ticking.
Yeah, still kicking. They frown
3.
upon that. Yeah.
I bet they frown upon that. We'll just say a lot. It's probably a lot though.
I'm guessing easily like 250.
Nice.
300.
Nice. Would you mind? We were initially going to do a Festivus thing, Seinfeld Festivus special. I was, so a lot of it was going to be
was I to air my grievances?
Exactly. So we have one grievance, if you mind, in the world of pinball for 2023. Is there a pinball grievance you mind airing?
Oh man, I try to stay out of the negativity if at all possible. So yeah. I don't know. I think I'm going to pass. Enough of it comes my way without any solicitation that I can kind of sidestep that one probably.
You have the best answer so far. Thank you for passing. What do you want for Christmas this year?
It just came in the mail today, actually. The new Atari 2600 Plus.
Oh yeah. So that is it emulating or is it?
I assume it's an emulator. It uses the OG cartridges.
Okay.
I went to visit my parents, and my parents moved to Memphis like decades ago. And I went to go visit them for Christmas. I don't know how many years ago it was. Probably 5-6 years ago, at least, maybe more. And I went through their attic, and I found my OG Atari 2600 and all the cartridges. So I've had them for a while, and I haven't been able to really play the cartridges. And a lot of the cartridges. Some of my favorite Atari games were like Activision, so they're not on the new Atari 50 Steam game, which is came out from a Digital Eclipse. It's phenomenal, but it doesn't have any of the Activision stuff in it. So like Pitfall, River Raid, stuff like that. Some of my favorite Atari cartridges have been sitting in my basement with nothing to plug them into because I don't have a coaxial TV anymore. I probably should have kept them all now in retrospect, but we got rid of them. So I ordered the 2600 Plus the other day. I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to get that and plug. So I'm going to try to open it up later tonight and see if I can play some of like Pitfall and see if they even work after sitting in a Memphis attic for a couple of decades.
Do you have ET? I mean, everyone has
I actually
right?
do have ET in that pile.
Yeah.
I think it's a pile of like 20 cartridges maybe, and one of them is ET.
Mm.
The rest of them are in a garbage dump somewhere, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. I still have one Atari 2600 game, Superman, just because I'm a Superman fan, so I have it somewhere. And like, actually, I think it's in my Christmas ornament box for some reason.
Oh, you can
I
hang
like
it
the
on
art.
the tree.
I know it doesn't hang well, but I like the art on the and the Spider-Man art on the old Atari.
The Atari art is so fantastic. I mean, I've been really on a big Atari kick lately. There's a book called The Art of Atari. If you haven't seen it, you should look it up. It's super thick, like coffee table book, but it's got all the details of like all the art from the boxes and how like, you know, people would look at the art on the boxes and be like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And then plug in the cartridge and be like, what the F is this?
Yeah, what is this? They fooled me.
What is this shit? Yeah.
Was that your like most nostalgic growing up console? The Atari 2600?
2600 for sure was, I remember my dad wasn't like super into video games or like super like you guys should play video games. He wanted us outside more. So when he brought home the 2600, I was like, holy shit. And I still remember one day there was some sort of clearance sale at Sears and my dad brought home a bunch of like $1 and $2 Atari cartridges. And I was just like blown away by like, you know, that we had so many games to play. I think even originally one of the TVs we played it on was still black and white.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, yeah. I'm not that old, but we just had a lot of freaking old TVs, you know?
The first Atari game, actually the first video game memory I have, you know, as you get older, you lose some of them, but I still think this is my earliest memory of video games, was at my cousin's house in Neenah, Wisconsin. I guess there's actually Wisconsin people here. And it was, I think it's called either Power Battles or Jedi Power Battles. I don't know if that's, it's like a lightsaber on top and bottom, and it's almost like a, not a kind of Pong where like you shoot a thing and you have to deflect. I mean, there's a
I don't think I've ever heard of that. That's
Atari games, but that's the one I remember, and that's the one that got me into all games forever. Was that was the first thing. I was just blown away, and then you know.
I remember all those. I remember like Adventure and Combat. I used to play with my little brother at Combat, and we would play Surround and Outlaw and all those games. You know.
Yeah, that's
good stuff. I have a lot of nostalgia for Atari.
Well, I'm glad you got it for
the OG Nintendo too, for sure.
Oh, that's my baby. Yeah, when I was the most selfish, shitty 6-year-old, or maybe that's just the average 6-year-old boy of. I remember Christmas that year when I wanted the Nintendo, you know, the Power Pack or whatever it was. It comes with the light gun and Mario and Duck Hunt and everything. I told my parents like, all right, I knew about returning things to like Target or Best Buy or whatever exists back then. Like, I'm just gonna add up whatever I get and I'll return everything I get from my grandparents and my parents because I don't give a shit. I just want a Nintendo. And so like while I was opening up presents, I was like writing down what I thought the value was. So then
it's like the price is right for Christmas returns.
And then at the very I was such a garbage person. And then at the very end they pulled out the Nintendo and I still got it, and it was
that's a good memory.
Yeah.
You need to have a picture of you holding it over your head or something.
I do have one. It's me and my sister. I'll try to find it and post it on Facebook, but yeah.
That should definitely be the cover for this episode.
God. All right, if I can find it. Yep. The shit is the new crap with that picture. Last question, 2024. From what you can say publicly, what are you looking forward to the most in pinball in 2024?
I think it's one that's pretty widely known at this point already. I want to see Jaws, man. I don't think we're going to see it until the Consumer Electronic Expo in January. You know, every Tuesday and Wednesday at like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm sweating it because I said I didn't think we were going to see it this year. So I'm going to Stern's page looking to make sure I wasn't wrong. But I mean, I want to see, every Elwyn game is amazing. And, you know, it's such an interesting theme. It's so different than what a lot of the themes that Stern has done really lately. So I'm just really curious to see what they do with it. That would be one that's super high on my list. It's a pretty obvious one. It's not like I'm breaking any news with it, but I'm just really curious to see, what it's like.
Yep. Aside from like the rumors of whatever and what you've shared and all that kind of stuff, I mean, the only scuttlebutt I've heard is that, it's legit awesome. So
yeah. I mean, I've heard good things. Well, you had the one time you played that game, the Two Lies and a Truth. You had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in there.
Yeah, and then when we were, we had it planned out for a few of them, and we still might.
You got to bring that back. I like it when you have Kale and Rachel on. Those are good shows too.
Yeah, me too. We'll probably still keep doing it here and there. It's,
do Two Lies and a Truth, then you give me more stuff to write about.
Yeah, well, sometimes I might need a truth, and I might have to hit you up and be like, "Hey, I need something, man. I need like crap."
Oh yeah.
Well, hey, man, thanks. You got anything coming up? Anything you want to point people to, or just go to the website?
Yeah, I mean, knapparcade.org, because some rando stole knapparcade.com, so I have to, I don't know who took it. I'm still hunting for them. If you know, send me an email. So knapparcade.org is out there, and then Facebook and Instagram are the pages. I talk about this stuff pretty much every day, and I share pictures of the rare games that I've seen, and just I like to talk about everything. So, yeah, stop by.
Okay. Well, man, keep it up. I love the site. I'll still be checking it daily.
Thanks, man.
And have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, and I hope everything goes well for you in the near future.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
All right. Talk to you later.